y'all, it is your favorite nerdy girl here, Nerdy Girl Reviews, and we are back with another review recap for Promising Young Woman, currently streaming on Hbomax. If you'd like to see the full commentary, stay tuned here on YouTube, or you can click the link in bio if you're seeing this on Instagram. And if you'd like to catch my other reviews, you can find me on sofritoforyoursoul.com. Stay tuned. Before I get into my review, I just want to show that I tried my best to look like our main protagonist, Cassie, even down to the colorful nails. These were not easy. Okay, and I know that the wig is not necessarily the same color as the ending scene, but I did my best. Okay, I went with this cheapy, beautiful pink color that honestly reminds me of like Gem and the Holograms, but we'll get into that in a minute. Also, I know I'm eating a Twizzlers, and Twizzlers is big in this movie. It's not sponsored. It's just one hell of a snack, right? Perfect for any movie watching for the holidays, spooky season. Tell me this isn't a cute background. I worked on this hard. So aside from my lighting, and I'm doing all these videos on myself, I'm like prop master, wig master, costume designer, all this. But anyway, let's not continue tooting my own horn, right? Tell me this wasn't cute in the movie too. Anyway, let's get into the review. Stay tuned. So let's get into the review. Promising Young Woman is a 2020 black comedy thriller film written, produced, and directed by Emerald Fennell. Now, if she looks familiar, she is the actress that's playing Camilla, was playing Camilla, Parker Bowles in The Crown. A phenomenal actress. And then now let's add director's cap to that. Bravo. I really did find myself addicted to the story. And again, I don't know if this was a director's choice, but just everything down from every last detail. These colorful nails on our main protagonist, down to these really nice colorful straws you see, because Cassie, who was a promising young woman, going to med school, gets derailed. Not by choice, but because of a traumatic experience. Let me just say also, should have said at the beginning of the video, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, watch the movie, then come back. But yes, her friend unfortunately goes through a very traumatic experience. She is raped, I believe, at a party, a gathering, and is inebriated and then attacked, basically. The people that were around her, instead of safeguarding her, left her be. And since this is like from the time frame that we are viewing this film, I believe this was like the early 2000s, so the technology was sufficiently advanced that somebody thought that it was proper to videotape such a disgusting, heinous crime. But Cassie, and the victim's name is Nina, and Cassie is our main protagonist, who was close. They were practically sisters in the film. They grew up together, and then what we're seeing is the perspective of the surviving partner after such a horrible, heinous crime, and Nina just couldn't process it, and so she ultimately commits suicide, and Cassie is left with all that guilt, carrying it like a ton of bricks, and it stifles her from living her life. You know, somebody who had such a promising future, but because her friend was never fully recovered first, and then no one believed her. You know, we're entering the territory of those, powerful men that always get the pass the nyuk nyuk, the shoulder, or that's just, locker room talk. That's just boys being boys. The past that you don't necessarily ever see shared for women. Women are always put into the category of, oh, you're just seeking something. You're seeking attention. You're seeking media. You're seeking social media status, something of that, something in exchange for blowing the whistle on somebody who supposedly seems ideal. See, the thing is that though I am dressed up like the main protagonist, and it's kind of fitting for Halloween, but at the same time, these are real life boogeymen. You don't need a Jason here. You don't need a Freddy Krueger here. Michael Myers. These are real life boogeymen that exist and come to you. I hate saying, quoting a mafioso movie, but they come to you with smiles. These are people who you trust, who you let your guard down, and you think you can be vulnerable with. And then they're not. They play on the, I'm the nice guy though. I made sure she got home okay. And then before you know it, they've taken full advantage of the situation and taken advantage of their vulnerability. Basically sexual assault. So it's an interesting take on it. And everything in the film is like, it's just addicting to watch, just because of the color schemes that they picked. Everything down to the hair. And also we see that Cassie's character has kind of split. I feel like there's a part of her that, realizes she does have to kind of get on with her life. She is still working at a coffee shop that she decided to work with her friend after they left med school. But the colors that are also chosen also kind of perhaps they're mimicking, when they were youthful, when they were very girly, teenagery, where they felt safe. And then once they're in this woman territory, they were no longer safe. So that's something to take into consideration. Also, we see that, the predator here that violated Nina gets away with it. Even though the video existed, but Cassie had no idea of it until she presses one of their former friends who had. And this is an interesting take on this film, because they also explore how sometimes women can play complicit, perhaps because they think that, well, I wasn't involved, and just keeping quiet, you're also playing into favoring this person that typically gets the promising young man, has such a promising future. But why is he always seen as this saint? So her friend gets totally shit-faced. Sorry, she does. And then Cassie was very smart in this particular session that she has with her former friend. And she lets her get inebriated to the point where she just can't even stand up straight, and somebody takes her home. Now, she isn't violated. She's not that type of person. But she psychs her out to the point where she, all of a sudden, she was, a little nervous. Like, what happened? But see, when it doesn't happen to you, you're not as concerned. So they've always said that also in certain cases, like, until it happens to that particular person or a close family member, people don't really necessarily care until it happens to them. So that was an interesting take. I also want to say the fact that the predator, I think his name is Al in the film, he gets away with it. But I'm thinking, would another interesting twist would have been if this person would have been a person of color, if this had been an African American actor or character, or a Latino character, would they have gotten away with it? That's another element that could have been explored. But yeah, this film is a black comedy. There are instances where you can breathe. It's not completely like, dark. It has elements of Gone Girl, thriller like. It did give me some instances of the 1988 movie The Accused with Jodie Foster. You hear the audio of what's happening, but thankfully the audience is not subjected to the visuals, because I think we've seen unfortunately a good amount of violence against women that is just to this point isn't necessary for the story. So I think that's something to take into consideration with our female director. But great casting. They had Carey Mulligan, which I've seen her, in Drive and The Great Gatsby, and she's a phenomenal actress. And I think she did a great job here. Especially when she goes on the hunt looking for these predators, she totally looks completely inebriated, nearly unconscious, and the guys all fall for it. And just when they've let their guard down thinking that they can get, take advantage of her, she just lets them know, like, it's like that switch kind of goes off, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, are you sober? And they're just completely caught off guard, like, oh crap, is she gonna call the cops on me? But it's very eerie the way she did it. So I think that the fact that she had that switch mode, but she's still likable, I think is extraordinary of an actress to play that dual personality. So that's why I say I think post trauma, post losing her friend, could she have maybe developed multiple personalities? I'm not necessarily sure. And if that's become her coping mechanism. So her love interest too, I thought he was really